I know about that. Yeah, John?
I've heard Karl mention a couple times out there that he would point to Henry Copeland and say, hey, when Henry walked in the dojo, we had to change.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I never saw that before, but do you have an understanding of what that watershed moment was? Or what?
Again, Harry Wright or Chris Stigerson could give you better detail, but what I heard was that the kata and the randori through the 1970s still employed large degrees of power and strength and speed and intensity to make it all work. That it was still an athletic thing. And that when Henry came in, he presented Karl with a big conundrum because he was selling the system of aikido like, well, you can be a 100-pound woman and take on a 300-pound man, and it's no big damn deal. You have such powerful leverage and such powerful technique and such powerful this and that. And then suddenly he's in a position relative to Henry of being the 100-pound woman against the 300-pound guy. And he found out, fuck, I'm wrong. It doesn't work, not the way I'm teaching it. And this was a big moral dilemma for him because he did tout himself and feel personally offended at his own potential dishonesty. Now, his possible dishonesty otherwise, I'm sure there's plenty of call for that too. But he felt impelled to be teaching a system that he could, by God, prove and say to people without hesitation, yeah, you can be smaller and lighter and less athletic and still handle somebody twice your size. That was important to him. And when he found out he couldn't handle Henry, he could handle Henry, but he couldn't handle him easy, like he was telling the 100-pound woman she should be able to handle the brute easy. He felt like he had to drop back and retool the whole system. And he told me that he knew judo worked, Osawa's judo, and that approach, by God, worked. So if all else failed, he would just revert to being a judo teacher and just do that and scrap aikido entirely. Or he would apply what Osawa taught, which is the light touch and the constant movement and the move on the fly thing. He would apply that to the kata system and the randori system in aikido and test it. And if it worked on Henry, then hallelujah. And that was a big watershed moment in his own school, because apparently when he made those changes, when he stepped away from the slam, bang, kill kind of aikido that he was doing before, tanto randori and fast and slam and bang and wham and tearing each other's wrists off and fingers tearing each other's noses up and all that cool shit from the old days. You remember some of that? You're in those old times too. You could tell better than me. There was a big point where he lost probably all the shodans and above in his school. That they just said, well, shit, this isn't what we signed on for. We're all going light and easy and knocking people down with a feather. And what the fuck? We're supposed to throw the piss out of each other. That's what we thought we joined up with. And he lost a big bunch of people. Now, I'm sure there were other reasons he lost a big bunch of people, because for years and years there would always be big bunches of other reasons, right? I don't know all those stories, but I do know that it was a violent enough technical shakeup that there was this parting of the ways. And the system that we learned, that you got from Usher and I got from Caldwell and we all grew up with, that system was a product of that transitional time, for sure. So Henry's impact was that it kind of brought Karl to...
And Henry has a Daitaru background.
Yeah, Henry had a background with Yoshinkan.
Yeah.
With
Mochizuki.
Mochizuki. There we go. Yeah, contemporary of Kamiki, right? Yeah.
You know, I think I heard you mention like the 70s. I heard a story that some of this had already started, but Karl had shut it down. He had two troublemakers is the way it comes off. One was Norman Fiedler.
Norman Fiedler.
And the other one was C.W. Bodie.
J.W.
And they were down in Houston.
Making trouble.
Making trouble.
Yeah.
And he shut them down. It was there. He shut that down. Anybody got any more to add to that?
I don't know. You want to say more about that, J.W.?
We knocked the Olympic flag down.
Oh, you stole the Olympic flag.
No, we knocked it
Oh, you
down.
knocked it down off the
No, you weren't supposed to.
off the wall. You weren't supposed to hit that flag. That's right.
Or the wall.
If you don't know,
we
Karl
accidentally knocked it down.
was one of the coaches in the 1960 something.
He coached numerous Olympic.
Yeah, and then this is you can go right ahead, but I'm going to tell him about the Olympic flag. It's kind of a good story. So he goes off to be judo coach for the Olympics. And he gets there, and the other USGA coaches are all in their slots. I'm teaching this, and I'm teaching that, and I'm teaching this. And he gets there, and they put him leading the warm-up. Snub the piss out of him. You're the warm-up dude. Okay. And he played low and humble. It was Munich. He went to Munich. That's what it was.
72.
72. And he just does the warm-up as they've requested him to do. But then he walks around to each player, he watches his play, he watches their strategy, how they play, what they're into, how their physique and what their specialties are. And he starts giving them strategies. Just on the side, not like their main coach at all, not trying to interfere, step on the toes of the exalted whoever's leading the big woo-woo. He just wandered around and whispered in people's ears and said, yeah, you know, when that guy takes a step left, you need to hit him with Koichi right then. Just as soon as you see that left foot touch, you're going to take that fucker out from under him. And he would give him the perspective of what he was seeing. And they started respecting the fuck out of him. So at the end of the 72 deal, the players got together and gave him that flag. It wasn't the Olympic staff who were basically trying to keep him in a box. And they put him in a box. And he just worked around it. Anyway, so you guys knocked the fucking flag down. Then what happened?
It wasn't a baseball bat, it was a gun.
I'm going to tell you, I'm going to shoot you in the head. Right. He would get violent. Yeah. And it sounded like very real threats.
Yeah.
So there are people who say, I'm going to kill you. And you go, yeah, right. And there are people like, I'm going to kill you. And you're like, ooh.
You have my attention.
Mm-hmm. I think perhaps he will. Right. Definitely of that latter category.
If I may add something.
Yeah, man.
For those who don't know, I got to live down in Houston from 83 to 84.
Mm-hmm.
I moved in with Karl, kind of like you.
Mm-hmm. With Chuck, right.
Lived there with him for a year. And a large contingent of the 84 Olympic trained there at that time.
Right, Berliner. Yeah.
Lynn.
Mm-hmm.
Lynn was probably more the coach at that time than Karl was.
Mm-hmm.
Which was his wife at the time.
Right.
And
Lynn became like one of the top kata people in this country, if not the top in the world. Yeah.
and she was a pro.
Right.
And I got lucky enough to get in on that.
Oh man.
And then part of the big split up with LF and
Mhm.
AG and Dennis was Lynn and he getting a divorce. That was the big.
That was a big
chasm right
division.
there.
Wow.
That's when
I can
kinda-
believe it.
I-
Because they'd all come up with Lynn, for sure.
Well, we loved both of them.
Yeah.
And she wasn't making us make a choice, but he was.
He was, sure.
And so you either had to be on his side
Right.
and just, like you said a while ago, you just had to leave her out.
Right.
And I couldn't just.
Well, and that's what blew me away when I left. Finally, way too fucking late. But guys like Bob and Chuck and George and Cliff and all these folks that normally, hey, they are cut off and excommunicated. I figured I was cut off, excommunicated. That was going to be it, and too bad for me in all these relationships with these other people, because that's how it always looked. Every time the axe would fall, poof, and shit, Chuck kept showing up. George kept showing up, Cliff, damn. And Bob came out, yeah, I'll come teach judo. I was like, fuck, really, Bob? Wow. That was amazing. because that had not happened with LF, and that had not happened with Dennis, and it had not happened with Chuck Clark. Chuck was the first major one I remember of that sort of behavior going on.
Ray Williams.
Ray Williams. Yeah, oh man, that was harsh. I remember the Ray Williams deal.
Yeah. I still went down and worked with Ray because I started with Ray back in '77. So.
Yeah. Yeah, man. You want to say something?
What happened to Chuck Clark? 'Cause I
Chuck
trained with
Clark.
in the early days.
What happened in what sense to Chuck Clark?
How did he and Karl get crosswise?
Oh.
Because he was a fanatic of martial arts.
I couldn't give you, I was like a brown belt at the time, so I didn't have all the details and whatnot. I did hear subsequently from people that knew people better that they had a really overly tight relationship. And Karl kind of did this, tried to do it with me, like, I'm going to be your daddy and you're going to be the son I never had, and all this, kind of weird codependent thing. And apparently Chuck and he got like that as well. But Chuck took it really serious. I kind of kept resisting, like, okay, you can call me what you want there, Karl. You can say son to me, but I ain't going to call you daddy, Apparently that didn't happen with Chuck Clark. But you know better than I do what happened with Chuck Clark. He's right behind you. Can you say what happened with him? Him and Karl?
I think it had to do with his son, Aaron.
Aaron. What happened with Aaron?
And one of the stories I heard was Gary Berliner was out there on the mat, and Aaron was about, 10, 11 years old.
Uh-huh.
And he says, come out working with me.
Uh-huh.
And so he says, Chuck says, turn to me, and I said, yeah, go ahead and work with me.
Uh-huh.
And Aaron grabbed a hold of Gary and threw him into Morinagi.
Uh-huh.
And then so Gary got pissed off and just started, wiping
Wailing
the floor
him.
with him. Yeah.
Sure. Hey, you punk.
And Chuck said something about it. Karl says you don't have a responsibility or the
Right. Don't correct my guy on my mat. That's
Yeah.
not your job.
And
fool.
he says, tell you what, and he threatened Chuck.
Uh-huh.
And threatened his family.
Oh, okay.
Because
Okay.
you don't talk back to Karl.
And that was the end of
Chuck
and
says,
Karl. Yeah.
I can kill you from a mile away. Don't think I can.
Woo!
Chuck was a sniper.
I believe it.
In Nam, and had been a prisoner of war and everything else. All Karl had done was work the radios,
Uh-huh.
kind of stuff,
He was an intelligence guy.
Right.
Right. Cryptography. Yeah.
So that's kind of what I heard.
Right.
Chuck was telling me.
That sounds more plausible than things I heard. So I'm going with his story. Yeah.
Same thing happened with Bill Johnson.
Really?
Yeah,
With
Bill was
Johnson.
out there teaching some stuff that Karl didn't approve of, AKA.
Uh-huh.
And so that was it.
That was it.
I saw Karl and Renee Pomerelli get into it.
Oh, yeah?
one time.
Wow.
And Renee Pomerelli was saying, I take the high grip. He said, no, you take this grip.
Uh-huh.
And man, they were about to get into it right there. They
It was
had
going to be a fucking fight.
to settle it.
Yeah. Right. The man had strong opinions.
Yeah.
He was extremely protective and amazing and generous and fucking brilliant. Fucking brilliant. The legacy of what we received from him is amazing. It's just stunning in many, many respects. But as a personality, I gotta say, geez,
Yeah.
wow, man, rode hard, put up wet. Me, yeah, Chuck, yeah. Ran off to Colorado to get away from this shit. And I don't blame you. It's hard to fathom. Almost cult-like weirdness that we put up
Paul was
with.
very charismatic.
Very
I mean,
charismatic.
you want to, everybody I've told, like, yeah, you want to hang out and hear the stories. And
Right.
It's all,
Right.
he draws people to it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. That was overwhelming. Yeah.